Today for this Christmas episode, we are going to be making some really cute home decor pieces using Dollar Tree supplies. Now come along and let's make something beautiful for our homes. For this project, we're going to be using a terracotta mini pot. I have a bunch of these on hand, some styrofoam balls, we're going to need 2 of them, a skewer stick, some brads, some fabric, and then some little picks that we're going to be putting together to create a snowman. You're going to notice that I poked a couple of holes in the styrofoam ball, added glue into those holes, as well as inside of the pot. This is going to help everything glue together nicely so your snowman doesn't pop off of the terracotta pot. Then I'm going to take that skewer stick and I'm going to cut it down, not getting rid of the other piece that we're cutting apart from it, because we're going to use that for his nose later on. But I'm going to use one of the pieces of the skewer stick to create a support system for the 2 styrofoam balls coming together. I'm adding in the holes as well as some glue and then pushing it all together to lock everything into place. Now I wanted to make my snowman frosty, so I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I'm using a matte Mod Podge, and then I'm going to add glitter to it. You can skip this part if you don't want to do glitter, but I just think it looks so pretty and frosty. And when I think of a snowman, they should look frosty because they're out in the snow. I like to do a combination of 2 different glitters. I'm using a sugar glitter as well as this darling snowflake glitter. And I just picked these up from different craft stores. I know the Target Dollar Spot often has a lot of these little jars of glitter. It's where I typically get mine. If I don't get it there, then I get it from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, or sometimes I order it online on Amazon. Now I'm going to take a piece of this red and white ticking stripe fabric, and I'm going to wrap that right around his neck so he's cozy out there in the cold. Glue it into place, and then that extra part of the skewer stick, the pointy part, I'm going to dip that right down into some orange paint. This part is so easy. Wipe off the extra, take a paper towel, rub it around so it's not too thick, and then dry it with my heat gun. Once I've got that dried, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to size and do a little bit of distressing on it with my Ranger chocolate ink pad. I'm just going to roll that around in there just a little bit, and then I'm going to push it into the foam, add that glue, and push it into place so it locks in, and it's now glued in and has a darling snowman nose. Now I'm moving on to his coal buttons for his eyes and tummy. You can use a whole bunch of things. I'm going to be using brads. You could definitely use beads. You could use little pieces of clay, whatever you have on hand. If you're going to use brads, I highly recommend putting a dot of glue, let it cool for about a second or 2, and then push the brad in. If you try to add glue to the brad, it will get too hot because it's metal. So once I've got all of those little coal buttons in place for his eyes, his smile, his tummy, I then can start decorating his scarf area. And you can go with as creative as this as you want. You keep adding to it. You can add a hat. You can add a darling little beanie. You can put whatever you want on these snowmen. The sky is the limit. You can make them as big as you want or as small as you want. But I think the fun part is just being creative and customizing the way you want. Now I'm adding on some greenery, a pine cone, a berry, and then I can't help myself. I love bows and buttons, so I'm going to add on a twine bow because I feel like it has that rustic cottage look, that farmhouse look to it. I'm going to add on a twine bow and then a vintage button that has gold and a pearl on it. I think these all coming together makes the cutest, charming little snowman for your decor. If you haven't yet, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All right, for this project, I'm going to be using this tree that's super popular as a wood cutout at the Dollar Tree, some scrapbook paper that's green and white gingham, this wood spool, a knob finial top, some craft sticks, and then a wood cutout star. The tree and the craft sticks are from the Dollar Tree. Those other wood pieces are from Hobby Lobby. And the scrapbook paper is just stuff I have on hand. Now you can tell this is just a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of different things. But we're going to start with cutting off the stem of the tree. We don't need that part. Go ahead and cut that part off, as well as the twine string. I'm then going to add glue to my tree, and I'm going to press that down onto the scrapbook paper, where I'm now bringing some pattern onto this wood cutout. You could paint it if you don't have scrapbook paper. That could be really pretty too. I'm using my brayer. This is usually used for bookbinding, but I love using it here in my craft room because it gives a nice smooth finish. I'm going to roll that down to make sure everything is locked into place and nice and smooth. And once it is, I'm now going to take that scrapbook paper and I'm going to keep my hand on the wood cutout and rip as close as I can around the edges. This is going to give us a pretty clean cut, and then whatever is left over, we're going to come back in with some sandpaper and just sand down those sides, and you will have a perfectly papered wood cutout. Once you're done with the sanding and everything is looking how you want it to look, you can distress the sides, by the way, if you want to go for a more shabby look. I'm now going to move on to the base of this tree. Take the wood spool and add some glue inside and one of the craft sticks and roll it around in there so it's nice and glued in. Now I decided to add a little bit of a base to the bottom of this. I'm going to be adding on a 1.5 wood round. I buy a whole bunch of these in a pack at Hobby Lobby. It's where I get a lot of my wood pieces from because they always have them on sale. Now I'm going to take that drawer knob piece or a finial top or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to add that to the second stick, and then I'm going to add the sticks onto the back of the tree. The finial topper is going to go up and the one with the spool is going to go down. This is going to allow us to be able to have a nice tall Christmas tree that is a very substantial decor piece that looks super high end, and you made it in your craft room. Now I'm taking this and spinning it around in the glue because I really want to lock everything in. I don't like my pieces falling apart on me. And then I'm going to add some more hot glue, and I'm going to take a couple of strips of fabric, one for behind the tree and then one you're going to see in a second for the star. I'm going to place that right on top of that glue, locking everything into place so it has a nice finished look, as well as the star that I added to the top right underneath the finial. Trim off any extra fabric you don't need, and then now we're going to move on to decorating this tree. I'm taking some ribbon that I have on hand, and when I use my heat gun on it, it causes it to shrivel up and creates a beautiful vintage look to ribbon. I just leave it on for a few seconds. It starts to react with the polyester in the ribbon, and it causes it to shrivel up. I tied some bows with that ribbon as well as the white one, and now I'm going to put those to the side while I add on some greenery. I'm using a greenery pick from the Dollar Tree and this one's sugar glitter one with a pine cone on it from Hobby Lobby. Just a combo of what I have on hand. And then I'm going to add on the bows. I'm going to layer them up because I really love that very rich bow layered look. Plus bows are like super trendy this year. I'm going to layer those all on top of each other and then move on up to the top. Now I wanted to glitter my star, and you can see that I'm not painting the sticks, the finial, or the base. I wanted to leave it raw wood because I thought that looked really pretty, but you can paint it if you want to. It's up to you. But for the tree star up at the top, I'm adding on some hot glue, and I'm doing a combo of two different glitters, a sugar glitter and then a chunkier glitter that's got a vintage look to it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the spool where the base of the tree goes into the spool. Adding some glitter there, it makes it look really frosty and so pretty for Christmas decor. This project was so easy to make. I think total time it took me was maybe about 15 minutes. It really was just waiting for the glue to dry. So I hope you give this one a try because it is a statement piece that is so beautiful. Now I've got this fabric on hand, but I want you to imagine that this fabric was a piece of fabric from a clothing item that you lost as a loved one. I've had a couple people ask me how I can remember loved ones this Christmas season, and this is the best way to celebrate those we've lost that we love. You take some of their clothing, you cut them into strips, and something they're known by wearing that was significant, that your kids, your family members know these people by. You cut them into strips, glue the strips together, and then pick out a shape of a Christmas cookie cutter that you like the shape of, and we're going to take this fabric and we're going to coil it all over the ornament. This is a fantastic way to keep a piece of that person with us. We honestly can't keep all the clothing from someone that has passed on because it's a lot to keep, but we want to keep things that help us remember them and honor them, especially during the Christmas season when we're missing them so much. This is a fantastic gift to give to family members that are mourning the loss of that loved one, and it's a great way to take something like a shirt or sweater, something that they had that you want to remember them by putting it on a Christmas ornament. Now you're going to see here, I slowed this part down because I really want to explain it. I've got all these strips that I lined up. When I get to the peak of the star, this one in particular, I slow it down. I add a little bit of hot glue where the peak of the point of the star is. I wrap it tightly and then I keep going, because you don't want the fabric to slip and move where you're going to see the cookie cutter. You just want to be able to get the shape of the cookie cutter. So just keep pulling it tight. And this is like one of many ideas that I have. So if you're interested in a video about how to honor your loved ones that have passed on for the Christmas season and how to feel like they're there with you, let me know and I'll try to come up with a video for that for you all. But this is just one of the ideas that I've done before. And I just feel like it's such a cute and memorable way to have that person still be with you during the holiday season. Now, once I've wrapped all the fabric around and I've gotten to a stopping point, I now need to be able to hang it up. So I'm going to take some of this thin silk ribbon. I'm going to tie a knot. And once I've tied the knot, I'm going to be able to cut that off and glue that onto the star. But this is the thing. You want to make sure you pick the side that looks the best, that shows the pattern of the fabric the best. So make sure when you do, you take it and you flip it around and you look at it and you examine which side looks better. And that's going to allow you to be able to have a nice hang-up point for your ornament and allow it to be able to really show off the fabric for the loved one that you've lost. Now I'm going to just put my dot of glue on the spot that I've decided is the best to hang it up to represent that person that we're missing. I'm going to glue that knot that I tied onto the satin ribbon or silk ribbon. I'm going to glue it down really well so it doesn't lift up, and fabric on fabric with glue locks it in nicely. And then I'm going to come in with some greenery because why not dress it up a little bit? And you can put whatever you want that represents that person on here. I'm going to add a bow on it. And then this is the part where it can get really special if they have a pair of earrings that you want to use for a little pendant in between the bow. If they have a cuff link, you can do that. There's so many different things that you can add. A button from the shirt, you can add that in the middle of the bow. You can really just dress this up however you want with the garment that you're working with. Now we can stop there, or we can take it a step further, which is what I highly recommend. If you have a picture of the person you've lost with you, or a family member who's wearing that shirt, you can take that picture, you can trace around the ornament, and then cut it out and put that picture inside on the back side of the ornament, so it allows them to be able to see the shirt, the clothing item they were wearing in that picture, and then have that picture with that person and give it to them as a gift. Friends, I'm telling you, this is one of the most memorable gifts you can give someone for Christmas when they're losing a loved one, or they just feel like they want them with them that season. Now I cut out the star from the photo paper, and I'm going to glue it onto the back with some hot glue, and then make sure you document on the back of that photo the person's name and what year it was taken. And then after that, you have yourself a memorable ornament, a gift that you can give someone that is so precious and they will adore for years to come. I hope you all enjoyed these projects today. I had a lot of fun making them here in my craft room. Remember, don't forget to head over to my channel gallery, clicking the little icon down below this video. It'll take you over there so you don't miss any videos that have come out that YouTube has not notified you about. That's been happening a lot here on my channel. That way you don't miss any videos that might have posted over this last month. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And until the next episode, bye friends.